Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Madam Chair, distinguished members of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to welcome you this morning to the Chamber's annual post-budget breakfast meeting held in association with PricewaterhouseCoopers. I sincerely thank PricewaterhouseCoopers for their continued support of this event, which is positively and imperative for the entire business community, and indeed is eagerly awaited by Barbadians of all walks of life seeking independent views on the budget and its implications. We also have a distinguished panel who has already been introduced to you, and they will give us critical support in terms of analysis, perspective, and understanding. Please join me in showing your appreciation to our distinguished panel. Yesterday, we heard the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs deliver his financial statement and budgetary proposals for 2013 against the background of a projected $400 million deficit in foreign exchange for the current fiscal year. For years, many respected private sector and international organizations have expressed concerns on the imbalance in the expenditure aspects of the national budget. In November 2010, government took steps to increase its revenues, but without the commensurate action to rein in expenditure, which, even at that time, was not in alignment with the levels of revenues being realized. As expected, a loss of confidence in the economy resulted, which the Minister of Finance acknowledged yesterday, and as evidenced by the drastic decline in our foreign reserves, currently down to 16 weeks of import cover. Many persons in the private sector have been laid off, and several businesses have had to close as well. However, the Minister of Finance yesterday delivered a comprehensive statement that was firm and full of sacrifices across the board. It provided solutions for stability, growth, investment, and fiscal consolidation. Some key areas that the Minister had recognized needing to be addressed since the Chamber's 2011 annual general meeting were finally addressed. I refer to the level of its wages bill and transfer and subsidies to parastatal and other entities. A strong determination has been shown to monitor on a monthly basis the performance of key economic initiatives to ensure that the planned action is implemented in a timely and structured manner in order to realize the intended savings to government and avoid dislocation. The question for the business community today is whether what has been done to reduce government expenditure and facilitate business activity is going to be implemented in a timely manner. Furthermore, is it probable that the many protective measures announced by the Minister of Finance will be put in place promptly so that businesses and investment will indeed be facilitated to realize the growth and investment that is absolutely critical to our national economic survival? The true test of government's sincerity of purpose, its ability to demonstrate and show true and effective leadership, is with harmony in thought, word, and deed. To use the phrase from our recent health and wellness activity, we must walk the talk. And that is the message to the government. We need to walk the talk. This is a period of national crisis and requires all actors, government, labor, and capital, to work effectively, inspire the confidence of all citizens, and seek to restore our economy on a path of growth and stability. Policies alone, without the support of people, cannot solve our current situation. Every citizen, every employee, every manager, and every consumer, by their actions, to do or not to do, will determine our eventual success. We need a climate of sustained productivity, competitiveness, and sound economic judgment and stewardship to see us through. My dear colleagues, even though we know it is going to be difficult, with unshakable faith in the divine, let us join our hands and each of us do our part to be part of the solution and not otherwise. I thank you.